안녕하세요. 안티프래질입니다. 이제 리븐 출시일까지 4일도 남지 않은 상황에서 많은 유저분들이 마지막 준비를 하실 거라 생각하는데요. 어제 와우헤드에 올라왔던 내용 중에 해외 크리에이터인 MrGM과 Scottejaye가 게임 개발자와 진행한 인터뷰 영상이 올라왔었습니다. 와우헤드에서 커버한 내용은 울드하르의 아이템 레벨을 조정한다는 내용만 제공되었지만 사실 약 30분이나 되는 영상에서 다른 내용들도 커버하기 때문에 흥미로운 내용만 정리해서 영상으로 준비해봤습니다. 그럼 함께 보시죠.
One thing that's kind of different this time around with Wrath of the Lich King and TBC is with TBC, when it was originally announced, we had a list of phases which came out, and it was kind of announced what is coming in all the different phases, which did change over time. For Wrath, we haven't really had that officially, at least. So could you talk a little bit about Wrath Classic phases?
So obviously we're starting at the beginning. No raids are available, just dungeons available. Winter Grasp is available from day one. As soon as you hit level 71, you can get in there. A week later, a week after, I think it's Thursday after launch, the raids will become available. And that includes the Vault of Archivon, which you'll be able to get to if someone on your server has won Winter Grasp. And then the raids will be Naxxramas, the Malygos raid in Eye of Eternity, and the Sartharian encounter. The next phase will be opening up Ulduar. And then we'll follow up the Trial of the Crusader. The final raid tier will be Icecrown Citadel. And of course, that's the battle all the way through to fight the Lich King himself.
Where are the dragons going to slot in there? So we've got obviously Onyxia. I assume we're getting Onyxia?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Onyxia, if I remember correctly, so I'm not 100% on this one, Onyxia comes in right between Ulduar and Trial of the Crusader, or around there. It's around Trial of the Crusader. I honestly don't remember. And of course, we have the final dragon encounter at the end after Icecrown Citadel. We don't have the exact calendar on that set out.
Will that be an individual phase? So Ruby Sanctum, yeah, will that
I don't
be
think,
like a phase 5, or is it just going to be like an addition?
I can't say for sure yet because we haven't figured out all the details, but I can imagine we'll have all of the data set up at the same time Icecrown Citadel's data set up.
So while we're talking about timeline in general, obviously with TBC, it was actually just under a year, I believe, between TBC launching and then the final phase hitting as well. So when Sunwell opened, do we expect a similar amount of time in Northrend?
I think we're planning on taking longer this time. Like it's going to be, I think we're thinking more like closer, not quite a year and a half, I think, but definitely longer than we took on Burning Crusade to go through it all.
You mentioned obviously about the Ulduar buffing the items.
We felt very strongly that the first time around, Ulduar didn't really get the room to breathe and to really get everybody to see the end of it. It got kind of cut off by Trial of the Crusader. So we knew we wanted to make some kind of a change to make Ulduar last longer.
95% of the questions were this. Do you think the redesigned Dungeon Finder that was added in Wrath of the Lich King Classic is a success? And how do you feel about that general system and how that's going so far? And will we ever see the random Dungeon Finder from patch 3.3 in Wrath of the Lich King Classic at any point?
It's a work in progress. It's something we're trying to refine and improve based on feedback. And we're committed to improving that tool, making it better as much as we can over time as we collect feedback. We have to look into what it is that we value about Classic. And one of our most important values about the Classic experience is the social experience. There are other reasons for not doing it. If we were to put in the LFD tool right at the beginning of Classic, it would fundamentally change the experience and feel of those first few weeks on Classic. You can do more dungeons, you can do them faster, you can do the same dungeon multiple times per day if you just keep on chaining through heroics. People would gear up much, much faster. They would exhaust the content much, much faster. They go bored with it much faster. But I do have some things that we are doing to help the experience for looking for dungeon. So we're borrowing an idea that came from later expansions, which is we started giving rewards for tanks and healers when they were in shortage. So if you are a tank or a healer and you complete a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon, when you kill the final boss, you'll receive an extra reward bag. The reward bag will contain consumables as well as a small chance at a pet or mount. And the idea here is if tanks and healers can get their consumables that they need to go to raids each week from going to heroic dungeons or regular dungeons, then they don't need to be out in the world farming for those things instead, or on an alt farming for those things. So there'll be more tanks and healers in the dungeon queues or in the groups looking for dungeons. So everyone will have an easier time getting a dungeon by increasing that supply of tanks and healers.
What's the mount?
It's similar to what was done in later expansions. It draws from amounts from previous expansions that you can get. So there is a very, 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 very tiny chance of Baron Rivendell's mount, but it's there, as well as the mounts from Kael'thas, and the mount from Sethicals. And there's a bunch of pets that are also very hard to get that are available that way.
Yeah. Can we just have random dungeon finder though? I mean, you can tell what camp I'm in. It's like, I just want it. I just want it, and I'm not scared to say it. You know?
Yeah, I understand why you want it. But right now the plan is not to put it into the game.
A lot of people are already planning how they're going to level, and obviously you would have seen yourself, and you'll all be aware. Solo in Utgard Keep, solo in Nexus, solo in Old Kingdom. All of this, you know, with very very high end TBC gear, seems like a very popular way. Is this something that is like, you know, it's just going to be left as it is? So, you know, it's more like, are we safe to prep? And like, you know, that side of things is not going to get nerfed?
Nothing is on my radar about that. We don't have a big problem with people doing that. At least I don't. If you can find ways to use all the gear that you earned from someone Black Temple to go through and solo a dungeon as a tank, then have a blast, have fun. I'm not sure it's going to be the fastest way to get to max level personally. I think you probably can get there faster working with a team of other people. But if that's what's entertaining for you, we're not here to stop you from having your fun. I do want to point out that those rewards for being a tank and healer do require you to be in a group. So if you're solo tanking, you will not have a chance at those rewards. You'll need to bring a group with you to have a chance at those rewards.
So do you have to be using the LFG tool, or technically could you put a guild group together and you'll still get the reward?
You can put any group together, because the LFG tool is just a tool to help you find friends. It's not a contract. It's not putting you in the dungeon. So any group you put together.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Awesome
answers.
Thank you. And looking forward to Wrath Lich King next week.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We're all looking forward to it. Everybody's crazy about it on my guild right now.
Yeah, thanks again, Chris.
Yep.
That was brilliant.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.